Tucker Carlson went on Joe Rogan. Every month we get an example of Tucker trying to promote his latest venture by going on some show or doing some stunt or, you know, re-upping a discredited story about Obama's gay sex from like 2008 and trying to refresh it.
Which would again be the coolest thing about Obama if he was secretly gay.
Well, did you hear that they were also doing coke allegedly in this?
Okay. I mean, look, coke is a problematic drug.
Smoking it too, smoking cocaine.
Wow. Yes, and also that the man that had alleged that had previously, I think, gone to jail for fraud or some other crimes. But Tucker decided that, you know, he's time to relaunch his media career with this very cold case.
Into the psyops.
I just think he's having a lot of trouble, like, actually
maintaining an audience.
And it's so satisfying because this happened to Bill O'Reilly too when he was forced out of Fox News due to his sexual harassment. The machine makes these guys. They are really just actors catering to the audiences on primetime Fox News, and they don't have too much to offer outside of the gears that they turn in the massive machine that is Fox News. So Tucker's latest attempt to gain some headlines is questioning the theory of evolution. Again, like, this is an old thing. I remember being a new atheist or a young atheist or whatever I was when I was 14, thinking Bill Maher was edgy and watching Religulous. Oh, they go to the museum that says evolution is really science. Like, what stupid idiots. I grew out of that at maybe 15 years old. But this is apparently now what we're returning to. Tucker Carlson now siding with the anti-evolution folks.
And enslave us? Well, let's say no to slavery. How's that? Is that a tough one? Not for me.
Yeah.
I mean, and maybe a good use of nuclear weapons would be to hit the data centers. No, I'm serious. Like, why is that crazy?
It's not. It's not if you think that human beings are the end of this evolutionary chain.
Well, what else is? Some supercomputer in a data center outside Dulles Airport? No. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
I don't actually think that individuals, I don't think I'm that important. My life is that important. I don't. I will die. I know that. And I try to keep that in mind every day.
But you're important to everybody that cares about you. You're important to the people around you.
If we don't think people are important, then what do we think is important? I guess that's what I'm saying.
Not necessarily that we don't think people are important, but if evolution is real, and if there is this constant, I don't know, but it's visible. Like, you can measure it in certain animals.
You can measure adaptation.
Yeah.
But there's no evidence that in fact, I think we've kind of given up on the idea of evolution. The theory of evolution as articulated by Darwin is like kind of not true. Right?
In what sense?
Well, in the most basic sense, the idea that, you know, all life emerged from a single cell organism and over time, and there would be a fossil record of that, and there's not. And
there's not a fossil record of transitionary species, like species that are adapting to its environment.
There's tons of record of adaptation, and you see it in your own life. I mean, I have a lot of dogs. I see adaptation in dogs, you know, through the...
Sure.
Can you pause it?
Through litter.
I mean, a fossil record of what he's describing here would have to be, I mean, at the outset of like the very, very early days of this planet. I mean, that is a very high bar that he is asking science to climb and then disproving the entire theory.
This is a classic, and I'll go back to my new atheist days. This is a classic fallacy of creationists. This is called the God of the gaps, which is that any gap in the fossil record, because of course they're going to be one. Once you add a new thing to the fossil record, there's a gap between that one and the previous and the thing preceding it. It shows that we don't know anything. But yes, no, actually Tucker's wrong.
And the gaps
do share a common ancestor with all life.
Also, there's a common sense explanation for the gaps, given the fact that it's incredibly difficult to record this. And all right, let's keep going.
And just to be clear, they were talking about like AI broadly.
Of course.
Yeah.
Nah, I figured that out.
Stupid fuckers.
Dogs, I see adaptation in dogs, you know, through the litter to litter, but. No, there's no evidence at all that, zero, that, you know, people, evolve seamlessly from a single cell amoeba. No, there's not. There's no chain in the fossil record of that at all. And that's why you don't actually hear people, you hear them make reference to evolution because the theory of adaptation is clearly, obviously true. But Darwin's theory's totally that's why it's still a theory almost 200 years later,
No, you don't even take it off we've not found gravity's still a theory. Keep going.
Yeah, but that's why it's still a theory almost 200 years later, No, we've not found that at all. And I can't even guess. I mean, I have my own theories on it, but they're not proven.
What are your theories?
Okay, pause it. Okay. So this is what's incredible about this dumbass. Your theory that you're, sitting in the woodshed he totally uses all the time. Remember that thing? Having a glass of bourbon is not the same as scientific theory. It's not the same as the theory of evolution, nor is it the same as the theory of gravitational pull of gravity, whatever. These are scientifically tested theories versus the colloquial usage of a theory that you have in your own mind. Or he's
like
more
the CIA
likely,
killed JFK because he wanted kids to not be fat. That's a
theory.
A soft theory.
Yeah, that's a theory.
Hypothesis, maybe.
But he's. I mean, this is also a project of the right to discredit science and academia by completely flattening their methodology into something that can be that anybody smoking pot and listening to Joe Rogan can come up with.
Humans and bananas, for instance, split ancestry 1.5 billion years ago. Remarkably, 25% of our genes remain similar. These shared genes are responsible for the biological functions essential to the life of all eukaryotic organisms. That's bananas, says Light of Evolution. I mean, this is basic shit.
We also could look quite, whatever, at some of the similarities between chimpanzees, between apes, between humans.
He thinks that God maybe made all these things slightly separate.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we actually do share, not only do we share stuff with chimpanzees, we share genes with fucking bananas. Okay.
I can't even guess. I mean, I have my own theories on it, but they're not proven.
What are your theories?
God created people, distinctly, and animals.
Nope.
I mean, I think that's I think what every person on Earth thought until the mid-19th century, actually.
Right. But
it's not a new idea.
They didn't have computers. They didn't have a general understanding that we have today of the process.
Do you think we understand more now?
Yes.
Really?
You don't think that we understand more today?
We understand way less. We understand so little that we're actually sitting here allowing a bunch of greedy, stupid, childless software engineers in Northern California to flirt with the extinction of mankind. So
that is not what is happening with AI. What's happening with AI is a bunch of nerds got a bunch of money from a bunch of capitalists, and they're trying to create a magic software that can replace workers. That's what's happening with AI. It's not going to destroy the world. It's not going to this sort of Nick Bostrom. It's going to paperclip the entire universe thing is bullshit. All that stuff is hype to try to get more investors to plug more money into this machine. This is the stupidest, most dematerial or immaterial critique of AI, and I'm just tired of seeing Lex Fridman. Every fucking moron talks about this about AI.
Well, I mean, adaptation is also distinct from evolution. Adaptation is about the environmental factors versus literally the component of the creature or of human beings. Do we have more of this?
Only
I mean,
he's looking for a new audience. He's saying dumb shit. Yeah, the thing is look, you can decide you think he's believable on this, and then you'll be like one of those flat earthers who decide that the people who say that there's no curvature to the earth are real. It's just not true, but enjoy the community.
He's back to the Christian theocrat angle, that his latest foray into commenting on actual world events was to say that the Biden administration is discriminating against Christians with its Gaza policy, basically. So yes, there are Christian Palestinians who have been killed by Israel, but to make that the focus, you're clearly discounting the major issues at play here in order to fit a specific kind of narrative. Lawful Waffle said, is Matt saying we're 25% banana? I thought human body was 75% water. Given the math, I have a science experiment I'm going to look into. Potential breakthrough. Stay tuned.
I mean, I think those sort of percentage things, I'm not a geneticist, but I think are easily fudged, and maybe don't. But we share an ancestor with bananas. Deal with it, Tucker.
James from Houston. Tucker is also conflating the study of the abiogenesis, study of the origins of life and evolution, as a way to measure how speciation happens.
Yeah. It's funny because like this brings me back to when I was reading Richard Dawkins and really loving like The Selfish Gene and The Greatest Show on Earth, which are good books about how this stuff happened.
Dave from Jamaica. I just lost it. Or why most mammals embryos at this early stage look almost identical.
That's why Tucker Carlson couldn't tell the difference between a dolphin and a baby.
That was Charlie Kirk, I think. That was Charlie Kirk.
What'd I say?
Tucker Carlson, I think.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Unfortunate that Zionist psycho was the one who did that.
I know. I was just thinking that too.
Golden Oyster Cult said, voting uncommitted with pride from Pike County, Pennsylvania. Free Palestine, allow them to control their own destiny.
Nice, thanks.
Ramona Frankenstein, do you think Tucker talks like that when he's has just a normal day conversation? It's like how grandmothers tell kids not to make faces or they'll stay in that way, and he got his voice stuck in that dipshit cadence. These are the questions that we should be asking.
That clip of him with, what is it, Theo Von, where Theo Von is like, you got a crazy laugh, don't you?
Yeah.
He does. He's a weirdo.
Yeah, he does.
Elite weirdo.
Daredevil Emma, maybe Tucker is right. I have seen an amoeba skeleton. Big Mountain, it's crazy watching Joe Rogan gradually become stupider and stupider with each new interview he does.
Oh yeah, Nicholas Gold is right. It's the ribosomal RNA provides a huge amount of evidence in the chain between single-celled organisms and us. It's just, cope by people who, like, I don't feel the need to believe in a god, but I imagine it's difficult for people who, like Tucker, who I guess need to believe in. First of all, if I lived life Tucker did, I would not want to believe in God.